Whoa, guys, we keep adding more people. This is getting absurd.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, there's more people here than last time.
Yep.
So, you guys know who is this?
I'm just a stranger that pulled off the street.
This is the mother of Tommy.
Yeah, that's all you really need to know. The mother of Tommy.
It is the most
Yeah.
important job.
It's Lady Breedlove.
Yes.
It's
Or the Bell Witch, whichever you prefer.
also the line producer of the company, the producer of Small Town Monsters, the one who makes all the call. I mean, you basically do everything to some degree here, right?
She is Small Town
Aside from
Monsters.
actually making films, because I don't know how to use the camera.
Yeah, but I mean, aside from like the filming, I mean, you do all the logistics, all the overhead, all the
Unless
basically
we
the
get
bread and butter
audited,
stuff.
I do nothing.
This has been my dream forever, to be in a room with this many women. So, we got some Bigfoot.
We got all the Bigfoot. This is the
So we're watching
all
3
Patterson
different
footage.
ones.
Yeah, because they illustrate different strengths and or weaknesses depending on your view of the Patterson footage.
Whoa.
We're gonna try to be as objective as possible, although I'm sure we all have our opinions of this.
I've never seen the Patterson film.
Seriously?
What? Really?
Yeah.
How is
Really?
that possible?
Yeah.
How do you work for this company and you've never seen...
I've seen like the clip. I've never watched the whole thing, guys.
Well, I mean, we're not
just
watching
watched
the whole
the
thing
goods.
Now this is apparently they used AI to 4K upscale the image. I figured we'd cut out all the nonsense at the beginning of the Patterson footage, which is just them riding around horses, and at the end, which is just all shaky cam, and let's just focus on 2 things about this video. There's the fact that what you're looking at seems incredibly anatomically correct and couldn't possibly be a suit, but then there's also the other camp that a lot of people are in, which is they say, if you look at it logically, you've got a bunch of fallacies here, which is that Patterson himself was out looking specifically for this thing. He drew this exact thing in a journal years before, or maybe a year before, doing this, that was in that pose, and it was a female. So all those things tell you, by logic, like if that was a murder case, you'd be like, he's guilty, right? But at the same time, this footage remains some of the best and most interesting, most mysterious footage we have because of what's actually on the film. So that's what I want to try to just
Wait,
get
so
everyone to
Patterson-
think.
Like the gold standard.
Yeah, it really is,
Yeah.
of Bigfoot stuff.
So Patterson saw this same one several times?
No.
No, he
This is
drew
just-
it, and
just-
then it's almost like manifest destiny that it happened.
Or like a premonition.
Maybe he's a psychic.
Just a minute.
So you see it's stabilized.
Whoa, that's interesting.
So you can really get a sense of the motion.
So an AI computer does this?
Yeah, well, the AI does the upscaling.
Does the
Everything
AI
else is-
add like any fluid movements or anything? Like how did it make the footage so still and then still? Oh, I see the background around the bubble
Yeah,
is moving. Okay.
You're looking at a still frame, they impose that on it. But everything lines up, so that is the scale, that's where it's walking.
That's pretty rad.
Interpolation of frames is just filling in information frame to frame. That's actually a thing that most editing software will do. I'm thinking the AI in this case was probably just used to bring it up in resolution. Which
Those arms
it
are
seems,
long.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you see, this is what you can see once you've stabilized it.
Yeah. And that's pundulant for sure.
Pundulant?
Isn't that what they use, the term?
Pundulant. I don't know. if
Right?
that's a term.
All right, so I was talking to a guy one time about the Patterson film because he found out I worked at STM, and he was like, "The pundulant breasts,"
Is that
and
the
it stuck in
Vince
my
guy?
head. Yeah, it stuck in my head.
Does he mean pendulum?
I don't
Pendulous?
know. I don't know what he
Pendulous
meant.
breasts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's more like it.
Yeah. Now, you can see the face.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
back.
so we got good footage, that's for
Right.
sure. Okay.
So what's interesting about that is people will say if it's a suit, you could have replicated the suit. And, well, do you want to take this monologue? Because I'm sure this is all info you already know.
Nope. I mean, people will argue that it's a suit, but then they say there's no seams to it. Like you're not seeing a definitive top and bottom. It would have to be like a full body suit if they were in it.
At that distance, you wouldn't see seams.
Other people have argued that if it were a suit at the time period, they wouldn't have one that would look this good.
Because this is what,
Right.
80s?
Because this
69.
was 60.
Yeah.
68, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I've seen it before. You see, I have no clue.
So that was part of the argument, is that as far as special effects go, we wouldn't have been able to do
comparing it to like Hollywood movies at
Right.
that time.
Because the movie, the big one at the time was Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, and
that
obviously
looked like
there's-
garbage.
And those
Yeah,
were horrible.
not much of a
Garbage.
comparison.
Dude without a budget going in the woods doing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Why would you think ahead to fake it to where today it's hard to debunk?
Right.
So I see what people are talking about suit, because look at that, the difference at the hips above where the fur is at. Right here. See the fur?
It has
See that line?
dog.
Yeah, like the shadowy.
Yeah, the little shadowy part.
It almost mimics like a silverback gorilla.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
way it is there. And the fur is actually very shiny, which almost feels like it has a natural oil to it. And artificial hair wouldn't have
Yeah,
that sheen.
it never does.
Unless they used a real fur coat. You ever
Yeah, that's the
think-
thing. If
So
you
many
used
fur
real
coats
furs,
had to die for this.
well, if you use like a steer, an entire skin from a steer, and so a steer is huge, so you've got a lot of fur to work with, and you've got, if you brush the coat out and actually do it right, you end up with a supple, it's bendable, it's pliable, and you end up with a fairly shiny natural hair. So as far as the suit's concerned, you could, at least as you said, you could have natural hair that's accomplishing that. But the anatomy is what's going to throw you off after that.
Yeah, because that's the other thing that people point to, is that this is a female, presumably. There are breasts there. So normally, most people, when you think of Bigfoot, unless it's somebody who's been studying it, you're not putting a gender on it anyway.
No.
It's just
Right.
it's just a creature. So the fact that not only does it look this believable, but then they added breast to it.
Yeah.
That's just one more
that
step.
goes outside the realm of
Yeah.
what they're trying to, if they were trying to fake it. Yeah, that's interesting.
Why would you add that?
Well, but then again,
Maybe-
Patterson drew one exactly like this in a sketchbook a year
Right.
prior.
I don't know
So he
anything
was
about-
obviously thinking about
And
it.
it was
Patterson.
even a female.
It was
the
a female
drawing?
in that pose, literally facing the same way.
That is a very.
Is that did
That's
somebody
what
make
I mean.
that
like,
up?
No, this is a thing, and that's why I say this is such a weird case, because it's like 50%, 50%.
Had he seen it prior, and
Yeah.
that's why he was going to look for it, because he'd seen it before and he wanted to see it again
That I do
and
not
tape
know.
it?
They were
don't know.
looking specifically for it, because I know there had been reports, but I don't remember. And people in the comments will let us know, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, in no uncertain terms.
Look at that.
If they had seen this
It's a
before, and
perfect
that's why
stop.
they were looking. I know that there were reports, and they'd gone several days in a row to try to see it. But also, isn't there not a ton of footage of them just riding around?
Yeah.
And then there's this.
Yeah,
So
this is the
that's a
only
lot
thing.
of wasted
Yeah.
footage just to get here, too. I mean, it's an elaborate hoax if it
If
were a
ever there
hoax.
was
Yeah.
one, yeah. Also, they all had guns, so everyone in their hunting party would have to be in on it, because if
Right.
you were like, well,
That's a lot of people to keep quiet, too.
yeah, and well,
Throughout
a
the
lot of
years.
people
Oh,
out
yeah.
of that group have also said, yeah, it was a fake, I was in the suit, blah, 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 but it's like, there are also people who, when the Zodiac Killer was killing everybody, were calling in every
They
day
claim
going, I
it.
killed him, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
rely on the testimony. I would be too afraid to get in a suit if everybody had a gun and not everyone
Yeah.
was in on the joke.
Right.
You can actually go to the next video because it's even clearer than this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so before we click this one, it's worth mentioning. So this video footage comes from Greenwave 2010 FB. The guy's name is MK Davis. He's been doing a ton of research on the Patterson footage exclusively for years. He does a ton of work on it. I may or may not be mistaken, and he might even correct us. I think he's one of few people who has access to some of the, if not original film stock, at least high-res scans of the film stock. Because what you end up with a lot online is, again, copy of a copy degradation.
Right.
The original film stock is incredibly pristine and actually has a lot of latitude in it. A lot of people will talk down about this thing and be like, well, it's blurry, it's this, it's that. It's like, what they don't understand is this was shot on 16 millimeter film, which is actually cut down. It's a half strip of 35, which means you've got all the latitude and fidelity of a 35. It's just half the scale. So it's actually pretty good footage. So MK Davis has gone to great pains. He's overlaying high-res
Check it.
stills over some otherwise blurry footage. So like there you can see, and on this screen it's not great, but
It was still pretty good. So he's getting these stills from that.
Yeah, from the film.
Wow,
High-res
look at the
scan.
head.
Right there.
Oh, that
Pause
is
it right
nuts.
Look at the length of the fur.
That's awesome.
You can see the face very well right there,
Yeah.
as well as most any other detail.
Yep.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty rad. Now, see, for me, seeing this, since I've been to the nest site, the more I've been around STM, the more I'm starting to believe in Bigfoot. I haven't had anything as crazy as Seth yet, but to see something like this slow down is pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you look at the length of the arms there, what can be faked in Hollywood, even then, although they didn't start doing it until the 90s, and more specifically Rick Baker in the 90s had a tendency. He's like the ape expert. He did the new Mighty Joe Young, he did American Werewolf in London, and he did the new Planet of the Apes, new as in like the Tim Burton one with Helena Bonham Carter and all that.
Yeah.
So he knows his ape anatomy. But you can do an arm extension. The problem is it only extends from the elbow out because you're basically putting distance between you and your hand. But if you look at that, the majority of the length of the arm is coming from between the shoulder and the elbow. You can't fake that. That's just impossible anatomy on a human.
Yeah.
Is this the first time Santino's coming to a video and actually agreeing?
See, here's the problem.
believing?
I half believe this one only because of how
good it is.
How good it is. But like I said, all the logic is wrong. You went out looking for this. You drew this thing. And
Yeah,
what are
but
the
you
odds
can-
you actually come across it?
I feel like you can come up with reasons to why you want to
a
justify
very-
it being fake, right?
Well, that particular
See?
piece of information is very hard to reconcile with, I
Right.
feel like. Because what are the chances, honestly? Unless, like, and I don't know, maybe this is the case, but maybe he had seen it in the past. Maybe it was an area he knew that it frequently, walked around in, and that's specifically why he was there. Unless all of those things, it just doesn't make sense that it's real.
Right.
Because it just can't happen. It just can't.
Right.
It'd have to be that he saw it before or someone else saw it and described it to him and said,
Right.
this is where I saw
Described it very
and then
accurately.
That's why he went out looking.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense that he would have seen it.
The other thing is, and obviously this video is ultra famous. Everybody's heard of it, even if
Not everybody's seen it.
Weirdly, haven't seen it. I don't know how, but so to put all of
Was around in
that
the
work
60s.
into it and then just leave it and never revisit it, never say like, oh, we got another piece of footage.
Right.
That would
Right.
take an incredible amount of self-control.
Right.
I feel like there's just no way to answer too many of these questions.
Yeah, it's a dichotomy. That thing's got a heck of a butt on it, though. I gotta say.
Well,
the only
yeah.
thing about the anatomy on this one that's odd to me is how stiff that butt seems.
That's
That
it.
That looks like a
Ape
school
butt.
secretary, right?
What?
Every school secretary,
feel like-
they got like that.
Are
that
you-
big
whoa,
butt.
Whoa.
What is going
okay,
on?
wow.
What is
Danger.
happening?
Are you
Danger,
familiar
turn
with
back.
NCIS? Because I got gift slapped you in the back of the head.
What?
What? I'm just
I-
saying, off the cusp.
Usually it's
No.
like me who everybody's telling to shut up, but
No.
I'm glad it's not me this time.
Its hindquarters does seem accurate for a primate, though.
I'll give you that. Well,
Oh, yeah.
for a bipedal primate, because if
Yeah,
you look at
an
a
ape,
if you look at any
specifically.
other ape, they don't really have a butt per se. Not in they have a gluteus minimus. They don't have the maximus.
So like a razorback or
Yeah.
one of the larger bipedal apes.
Exactly. I like that you use the word hindquarters as well. It really elevates what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then there's Aaron.
And then there's Aaron.
Man, she thick.
Yeah. It's about balance. Trying to balance it out.
That's what I'm here for, guys.
Thick like a secretary.
Yeah, it's ideal that I've never seen these, right?
Secretary.
I just don't know where that came
with
from.
This guy.
Right?
No, I don't know. I don't
we
know
don't
what
know
you're
where
referring
you're
to.
coming from on this, Aaron.
I'm really
The office
confused.
staff. You go into the office.
Whose office? Whose
In the
office?
school
are you in?
office. When I was a kid, man, I'd have to go to the office all the time.
So this is one person you knew.
This is so surprising. Aaron had to go to the office.
Oh yeah.
The pink
We won't
slip.
go into that.
So then this last video is also, again, M.K. Davis. But what he did was there was a time when they went back and they tried to recreate at least a pattern in which the Sasquatch had walked. And they got a guy who was about 6'4", 6'5", to walk the same pattern because that would settle the height argument, right? Yeah, he's lined up the trees in the background of the Sasquatch with the trees in the panorama, so
right
his
here?
scale is close. Yeah, try it right about there.
We'll just let it run a couple of times. See
Oh, wow.
aligning? See this tree aligning?
Oh, that's neat. So
This
she's
tree right here,
about
this overall
his
line. Watch
size,
it all
eh?
align.
Which makes
Everything
sense.
aligns.
holy
based on
cow. That's a ton of
what
work he's
people have
doing.
said.
So I know that
That's
that
amazing.
subject is the correct height
Give or take.
compared to Mr. McLaren.
Because he's, they say 6'4".
Oh, what, half inch?
No, by
it
like
looks
5
like
inches.
it's just a little
5?
bit taller.
Yeah.
She's,
Look.
oh, yeah.
Right
She's,
there, she's
it's-
5
Whoa.
inches taller.
It's forehead height. From
yeah.
She is
I see what you're saying.
So would you
subject
think
is
that
correct.
the human was too far away or too close based on this? Are you able to kind
You
of
think
give an
she's
opinion on
taller?
that?
Well, because he comes to the conclusion that she's, if he's like 6'4", he's come to the conclusion that she's like 6'6", which sounds fine. I'm going to say, though, given how much she tends to bob up and down,
Yeah.
I'm going to say she's closer to 6'9" or 6'10", more on the 7-foot end.
So,
That's still very
Okay.
tall
It is.
for a female anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
I
Which
mean,
makes sense though for if you're thinking about male and female counterparts.
Yeah.
When you get a Sasquatch, people are reporting that they're like 8 to 10 feet tall.
Right.
So I could see a female being almost 7 feet.
yeah.
Those trees really do show how well he got it lined up.
yeah.
He got it pretty darn close. If McLaren's walking farther onto a more sloped path that goes down, then it gives her the height advantage, or vice versa. So the thing that I'm gonna
I think that beginning part is my favorite.
possibly,
Show how
but now
tall
you're
she
also
is.
getting distortion though from the panorama, which tends to exaggerate things farther this way.
true.
So the only thing I could say with any confidence is, as well as he's lined this up, what you do know is that Sasquatch or hoax or whatever it is,
It's really tall.
well, it's within the reasonable limits of a human being in a costume. Even if you had someone who weren't all that tall and put them on stilts, because you never see the bottom of the legs all that much.
Yeah.
You do it first, but all I'm saying is it doesn't, as usual, it doesn't really help you say, well, it's too tall to be a person. And it also doesn't help you because it says, well, it's still within the limits of, I mean,
Well,
it could be
and-
anybody who's my height or taller.
If you were to go the hoax angle, then it would make sense for them to do a female
Right.
because the females would have been shorter and therefore easier to
But
put.
man, that's a lot
in
of
a
thinking
costume.
ahead.
It is.
That's a whole lot. I mean, you'd have to have like a conspiracy
Well, he
board
did
in your
have
house
that.
going
He
like,
had that sketch.
yeah, he did have
He
the
was
sketch.
obviously he had it on his mind
aware.
to some degree.
Right.
So that's that.
Yeah. Real quick.
Solved.
Pay the bills.
That
Yeah.
makes me believe in Bigfoot more.
Yep.
So,
Did we forget something?
We got to pay those bills.
Yeah.
Santito, what is Loot Crate?
It's a subscription service where you can get cool movie memorabilia and other branded content put in a box just like this one, sent to your house monthly for
Yeah.
a subscription fee.
Yep. And with that subscription fee, you can get 15% off. That's like 15% off.
It's like half a 30.
Yeah, right?
That
Is there a
math
code?
checks out.
A code
Yeah,
that they must
STM
use?
15.
STM15. All right. Do
And
it.
there's going to be a drawing for everyone who sends us submits a video for us to check out. We're going to put your name or your handle or your whatever into a drawing, and then we're going to draw at random, and whoever name gets it, you get this box.
Yep, the whole box.
The whole box.
Nothing inside it.
Just the box.
Oh wait, no, the contents.
Yeah, the
And the
contents
box.
too.
And the
yeah.
box.
Yes. Okay.
So, okay, guys, how are we feeling? You want to go around the clock? Let's start with Adrian, since you're the guest. You're the,
About how I feel about it in general?
in general,
or-
just now, in light of new evidence, in light of what you thought before, just
I feel like what I'm seeing on camera is extremely convincing, but the fact that he was sketching this years in advance makes it a little too suspicious for me.
so would
And
you be
that's-
it's real or it's not kind of a
I just don't. I feel like I have too many suspicions to say I believe that it's real. I believe that if it isn't real, it is really, really good stuff. And
For the 60s? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you want me?
Yeah, lightning round.
Yeah, I'm
The
totally.
end of the episode.
I love it. Yeah. I think it's real.
Real? All right. Yeah.
Aaron's in love.
I think he just happened to be drawing one, and then he was blessed with seeing one.
Manifest destiny.
You better start drawing, Aaron.
Well,
I think he had a dream, and he wrote it down real quick, and then that dream came true.
50-50 for me. I'm just inconclusive. I can't.
Oh, it's too
I think
easy.
What's there is convincing, but everything about it is wrong. I think.
That's pretty much how I feel.
Dude, look at all that
50-50.
work. That's a ton of work.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't
And
think
like
it's
I
a-
said, the fact
yeah.
that he never, they just never
Right.
use any of that again.
I mean, I know, as far as a hoax is concerned, they didn't have, as who they were, they didn't have the money to pay someone who would have had the skill to do this. And no one at the time that we know of had the skill to do this, because people even now have tried to make replicas of it, and it ends up looking stupid. You can fake this now for a good amount of money, but you couldn't fake it then. You were just broke cowboys. Heather?
Oh, I think it's real.
Real?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I mean, what you were saying, I didn't realize about the drawing beforehand. I don't know if that's enough for me to just say it's fake. If he had been studying it or something and had seen them, I don't know. I don't know enough about the history of it. But I think also the argument that, well, see, when you said they didn't use it again, that makes me even more convinced that it
Right.
isn't fake, because if they got this out and it was such a good hit, then
You
why
just
wouldn't
keep
they
doing
use it
it.
Exactly,
again?
yeah.
So, like, to me, that makes it more believable that this was it. I mean, this one and done, boom, because they saw it, and then if more people came in the area afterwards, I mean, animals move away when more people come in. I'm convinced that it's real.
Courtney?
So, with the drawing and everything, again, we can't find out for sure, but there could be an explanation for that. I don't know. But looking purely on the creature, the texture of the fur, the way the light hits it, that all looks a little too good to be a prop of the era.
Right.
No one's putting that kind of money into it. The hindquarters that were pointed out, the limbs, proportions.
I can't see Aaron's face, but I saw the eyebrows move from here.
It's a lot of
Hindquarters.
expressions.
It all
Yeah.
specifically like lines up pretty well to be probably not human, so I think it's very convincing.
Yeah. Well, this is an unusual episode of Paranormal Unexplained, in which we're mostly convinced, but we're also really confused.
Well, that's pretty good stuff, Santino. We'll see how long this stays up before it's taken down.
Well, if you like the show, everybody, like and subscribe, smash that button, hit the bell.
Yeah, if you want to stay up to date on these things, turn the little bell on.
Yep.
It'll notify you.
Notifications.
Ding dong.
And if you want to see all of us together hunting down ghosts,
Yeah, on the trail.
join the squad, guys, on the Trail of Hauntings. We're actually going to go film an episode tonight.
Be
Okay?
there. Finger pistols, pew pew.
All right. See you next time, probably with not as many girls. Sorry.